Hi everybody, here's a new video about buggy construction. In the previous part 1 got the transitional pulley turned over and the mounting bolt became broken because of an inexact adjustment of 2 details. In this part I'll make a new pulley which will be much more precise than the previous one and it'll be longer by 20 millimeters. For this purpose I bought a crankshaft again, sawed off the needed part and began to turn it down to shape in a lathe. This time, I didn't temper the metal and sharpened it as it was. On the place of balance arms the pulley was sharpened well, and on the place of the crankshaft journal, which is originally tempered by an induction method, it was hard to remove the metal, but still it ensued on. After grooving the main part 1 welded 2 slabs of 10 millimeters to the butt. I simply had no other material and made everything from the one I had. I sawed off the excess corners and began to turn an octagon into a circle. I did it slowly as the load on the knife was big and I had not so many knives for this lathe. In fact, I used those ones from a set. I used a self-made extended knife for grooving an internal hole according to the diameter of an outlet axle. After the hole was increased, I took a knife of a bigger size and reached the necessary diameter of the hole with it. Now we need to make a groove in the pulley for a spline. I took a package of metal blades. I'd need only 8 sawings from it. I finished a hacksaw for several blades. Now it's possible to put enough sawings on them. I put on 3 blades on a saw and began to grind a groove. It is important to make a first exact saw and only then add on several sawings and give a groove the necessary size. Finishing groove debugging was carried out by a file under the exact size of a spline. Now we got a good spline groove with correct geometry. Before pulley installation we need to install electric equipment on the outlet axle and a starter on the engine. I bought a new set for this, the starter, the lighting coil and the stabilizer. I didn't remove the remains of the broken bolt from a shaft by myself. I brought the engine to a workshop. There the bolt was removed and a flywheel with magnets and a gear ring for the starter was installed. All the rest I installed by myself. A small advice: if you want to install such engine as from Lifan car, then buy a complete set with electric equipment at once. It will be much cheaper and more simpler, rather than buy everything separately and install it on the engine. After the additional equipment installation, I began to assemble everything upside down. This time the pulley sat on a shaft very densely. Before the gearbox installation I started the engine and checked whether everything was turning normally. This time I had small difficulties. The box didn't want to come back at all, but after all I managed to put it on its place. After joining I started the engine again and checked the clutch work. There was a block with the lock of ignition and the protector in the set with the additional equipment. I don't need the box anymore, I got all interiors from it. Drilled the holes in the panel and installed a lock in it, previously having connected it to the starter and other wires according to the scheme. Before the ride we need to remake a clutch pedal, to be exact to transfer a rod a few centimeters lower. Now the clutch is stepped on very easily and lets you to start much more smoothly. I put on a forward casing and went for testing. This time I happened to catch the only sunny day in this month. But as there've been rains the soil road became slick that worsened the test drive slightly, or maybe vice versa. I suggest you to enjoy a beautiful autumn sunny day together with Buggy. The shots were almost similar to the ones from the game. This buggy has no original wings, so to say, and all the dirt from under the wheels flies in every direction. During the test, I even got some pieces of dirt in my collar a few times. Now I have to get used to such road conditions before the new speed measurement. The road was very slick and the buggy constantly wanted to go into a skid, so I often had to steer it right. To measure the speed, I found a place with a plain not such slick surface and made several tries. It's better to watch the indicating speedometer. It shows indications very smoothly and doesn't jump as the digital one. A piece of the road was not so long as I'd like it to be, and there were periodically passing by cars that complicated the speed test. After the first try, I started the second test. This day, for some unknown reason, the speedometer got calibrated as it should have been, and showed the exact result. The second try was more successful, and I even tried to ride in the dirt on a rather high speed. I began the third test slightly further than usually, approximately for 50 meters. It is badly visible, of course, but the arrow reached till 80. Also, I decided to nail down a success by one more try. It was possible to reach even more high speed, but I needed a longer area with a dry covering. A cruising speed of the buggy was about 60 kilometers per hour. As I've already told, it is enough for the cross-country terrain. On request, of course, it is possible to accelerate buggy till 90 to 100 kilometers. Generally, I got those figures as I planned at the beginning of the project. I also wanted to make a long drift, but it was impossible without a bench hammer. I think someday, I'll put a hydrobank hammer in it. One more test for buggy from PUBG is test in dirt. That's the main designation of these cars actually. Having pretty low clearance, this buggy can still surmount dirt and pools even without differential blocking, and that's really fun to do. After riding in the dirt all out, I went to a workshop. By the way, how do you think should I paint it black? Write your answers in the comments. After arriving in the workshop, I examined and checked the suspension whether something has broken. After all, I didn't spare it and flew in pools at a full speed. Everything was actually alright, the suspension looked fine, but nevertheless I'd remake the top levers under 2 pipes. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments and likes. Good luck everyone. We'll meet in the next video.